Hello, hello, hello. We're going to give it some time for people to come in. I'm so excited with you all because we have part two on the semen retention. And I know y'all were asking. And so we're going to have the brother join us. And we're going to talk about, because he's done with his 40 days and 40 nights on the semen retention. So let's get him in so that way we can ask him further questions if you have questions and just see how the rest of his journey went. So just bear with me. Welcome to everybody who is just coming in. I can't see our names right now. Give me one moment. There we go. Hello. Danny's Line 888. Go check that page out. If you don't know, Danny's Line is created by a beautiful sister who created that line for their best friend who had transitioned, and they do crystal bracelets, anklets, crystal jewelry pretty much is what she does, and she puts it with intention and love, and it supports her family as well. Hello, Goddess. Hello. And then Moana, welcome. I think this is the first time I actually have you here. And Saint Jose, what's up? There you go. For those of you who don't know, that's who we are going to have on here. So I'm just fucking excited. Can y'all hear me good? Let me know in the comments. Let me put this request out to you. Hello, Rosa. Welcome. Wow, look at all of that artistry. Hello.
Oh, it is.
I'm so excited to have you back. I'm so grateful and thankful and like, yeah, the vibes.
Hey,
How are
yes,
you?
doing quite well. How about yourself?
No complaints, no complaints. Fur baby needs to be walked, but she'll be all right. We got like an hour, girl.
Mhm. Ah, it is.
So
Great
40
indeed.
days and 40 nights was it?
Yes, it was. Oh God, thank you that it is over. Yes, indeed. That was a trying little experience there. Ooh, yeah, that was a time.
Mhm.
Very clearing. But yeah, how we gonna start? Should I go about the pains, the trials, and tribulations that of which was the 40 days and 40 nights? Where
Mhm.
you want me to begin?
Let's go with yeah. Let's go with the tribulations, right? Because that brings the trials. That's what brought the trials. That's what
Ooh.
turned it into testimonies, right? That's what brought you here to say I completed it. Yeah, let's go. Let's get it.
All right, the trials, good, or the tribulations.
All of it.
Oh, ooh, yeah, that was a rough patch. That was a rough patch. That was not fun at all, in the
At
slightest.
what period was this? Because I'm sorry, when we first started part one of this conversation, how many days you was about halfway through almost, right?
Not at all. Not at all. I think I was like a quarter of the way at that time.
Okay.
And yeah, it was like the beginning half was I was used to. It was something that it was a certain amount of time that's been done before. But yeah, by that time, that's when things were starting to like, how could you say? It was like the subconscious really starting to, or the spirit of it, or whatever you want to call that. Like that's when the fight started to like show itself, to where it was
When was
friction
that?
against
When was
something. Say again.
when was that? Around like what?
That was probably like day 12. Yeah, I would say day 12 because mind you, yeah, like I believe I said before already, where it'll be a cycle of every 3 to 4 days. Like I'll be clean, clear, under control, and then like that third day turns, and like by the night of the third day, it's like, ooh, sex is great. Remember that? Remember what masturbation and all that feels like, and it's like, nah. And then it's like, well, I'm gonna try to remind you so you can go ahead and let's do that, please. It's like, nah. And then, you go to sleep with the thought, and then you wake up with the thought, and then that fourth day, good God, yeah, it's on and popping. And then it's like the energy goes away. And then once again, every 3 to 4 days, it's like, oh, good. That fourth day comes in and it's like turns up. And so it's like to go in those
Mhm.
cycles like that by like that, I guess, like you said, 12, around the 12th, 13th day, it was like, oh, you're not going to play the game? Like, you ain't going to roll with it? Let's turn it up then. And so, yeah, by like the day, like I said, 12, it started to ramp up heavy to where it's not just, and I think that's where it was starting to like mess with me to where the point where it's like, oh, okay, there's a fight going on. All right, we're doing this then. Because now it wasn't just like a, ooh, it's an urge, and all right, let me go ahead and do something, let me exercise or this and that. Da, da, da. Now it's like I'm getting like physiological like responses to where like veins are starting to pop up on the side of my head. My breath is getting like sensual and heavy and just I was like I'm feeling like a goddamn wildebeest or like the animals that have to fight during mating season or something like that where it's like I want to fight, fuck, die, kill, whatever. I just something needs to happen to me now. I need something. Something's got to give. And so it's like it'll be at a point to where like I couldn't even breathe straight to where like I'm going to sleep with tears in my eyes. I'm waking up with tears in my eyes. It feels like I'm just ooh, like I couldn't like just talk to people. I like being alone is where the attack starts because that's where like idle hands can do, that's where masturbation should start. That's where phone calls should start happening and all this and that. But it's like, nope, 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 nope. But it is like turned up so heavy to where exercising doesn't help. Like nothing. It wasn't a game anymore. Like I said, it felt like a spirit was alive and trying to fight for its, continued existence. To where it's like, my God, okay, if you're gonna do all this, then now I gotta fight now because now you showing that you exist. Now you justifying me doing this. So yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna, do a whole just straight up 40 days, 40 nights thing, this and that. And then like I said, by the it was I remember the day because I was marking on the charts every time it was like a an intense day with like I'll rate the energy just like with a little arrow. If it was a crazy day, it'll be like 3 arrows and then like an underlying one just to show how intense it was. And around the 9th of last month, that was the most craziest day. I think that's when it became evident that it's like I said, it will crescendo. Like once it knows there's a pattern that's happening, and once whatever's in me see that the pattern is like continuing, it'll ramp up, and then it'll try to ramp up for as long as it can before it burns out, and then it'll
Mhm.
ramp up again, and then it'll burn out, and then by the time I'm like now it's doing a pattern of ramping up. Now I'm getting used to the ramping up of it, to where the pain is still like sweating and all of this stuff going on. But now I'm getting used to it. So now it's like, okay, you gonna do that, keep doing it. Now I'm building up. Like now it's like a back and forth between like a cat and mouse game of, all right, you gonna do it like this? Well, I'm gonna keep going. Well, I'm gonna keep going. Well, I'm gonna keep going. And so it's like now that, like I said, now that there was a I would consider a consciousness to push back against it. Now it's like a competition. Now it's less, oh, the urge that I want to, masturbate or watch porn or do this and that, and more along the lines of, oh, I can beat whatever this is against me now, because now it's showing that there's a thing to compete with or fight against or so on. So yeah, um,
Would you?
another thing. Oh no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish, please.
Oh no, because I was pretty much done. I was going to hop on something else, so I'd like for you
I
to.
was gonna say, would you say that that consciousness it was another form of you? Would you say that this spirit was just another form of you, like a battle between you and yourself, another version of
Absolutely.
yourself? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like your primal self, or the attachment self, or addictive self, or all of those, none of those.
I would think that it was a thought form gained momentum to where because I was noticing that a lot of time I would want like the urge to begin once I'm starting to do some like artwork or something taxingly creative on like my something that taxes my creative side. So it's like I would want that like ease in to it to where something where how would I say it? Because doing physical work doesn't really bother me. It's very easy to do because I don't have to think about it. But there it is. Anytime I had to creatively think in a way that would make me quote unquote insecure, as in like doing like the big old paintings that I got or stuff like that, or doing something creative for somebody else, to where it's like, okay, how would I do this? Ooh, it's like as soon as I start stretching like that, it's like, you know, what will help? Well, masturbation, sex, da 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 da. And it's like, nah, we're gonna just go ahead and get on it. And it's like, no, we're not. Actually, we're gonna go all the way in the other direction. So yeah, we're gonna porn masturbation, please, please, please. And this and that. And it's like, no, no, okay, all right. You know what? I will not do it. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna focus on fighting this then. And then
So how would you
behold,
say, how was that like for you? Was it through breathing? Was it through conversation? Because you had the awareness, you had the feelings, right? You had
mhm.
the intensities, right? The withdrawals, the symptoms and everything like that. Um, the actual battle, like how did that, like obviously at first it was like physical, right? Like you would work out, you would do this, you would do that. That's how you was playing the battlefield, and it was semi working for you until it wasn't no more. And so the entity was like, I'm bigger than your muscles, right? I'm bigger than this, right? Essentially, right? I'm
Right.
bigger than this body here. And I want to make myself aware to you of how big I can get. So I'm going to amplify myself, and so you can't ignore me. So at that point where you said like you wouldn't do anything, what would you do? What would you just, would you sleep? Would you do some breath works? Will you journal? How did that process look like?
Ooh, yeah, it definitely stripped me down. Everything that I wanted to do that used to work was like a no. Um, Breathing was out of the question because now it's just like it's like a fire and you just giving it air to like
Be the flame.
Yeah, it was going
So,
crazy
have
doing
you
that.
tried consciously breathing into that flame in a way where you transform it or transmute it into something else?
Uh, I couldn't think of it at the time. It was too like in the moment of okay, I gotta like not be where I'm at right now. Okay, let's meditate. Let's just be centered. And it's like once it was doing that, it's like nope. All right, because that it's like I couldn't be. I didn't have the presence enough to be focused, like centered in the feeling of it all. Um, a lot of the time, it was like grinding against it and escaping it. And now looking back, it's like it's probably not the best thing, but we learned as we went. But yeah, sleep was one of the main things for sure. Sleeping was one of the main things for sure. Um, doing other uh things to keep busy, like cleaning and, things to where it's like, oh, I need to do all this other stuff. So I guess I'll just hop into that and, or doing like I'll just like do little repetitive motions like that just to like focus the thing and like, I guess you could say it became like a meditation from that point, even though that wouldn't last too long. Like I haven't, I haven't really, I kind of got out of my practice of meditation, to be honest. I tried to like get back into it. Um, following your lives, like your breath work in the lives was like fire, like that definitely helps. But my meditations, I used to like go for like an hour or two or like 30 minutes on the regular, but now it's like back to where if I get into the momentum of it, it's hard to keep concentration for a good like 15 minutes or so without me staring at the time or, losing focus and this and that. Da, 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 da. But yeah, it'll get to a point where like I'll like just do something, creating the energy, creating something to where I could put my attention into, the action with my hands or whatnot, just to be able to, I guess, gain my breath through that at a certain point.
What was the date that we spoke? That it was like, I think it was like the day before. It was like the 39th day or something like that. I was like, oh, tomorrow? Like, you
Oh
was like, I
yeah,
might as well be done today, right? Can you share with people a little bit with that? Because you was like, I learned all my lessons. Like, and then
yeah,
I was like, okay, but you dedicated this to yourself. Like, you made a promise to yourself that it was going to be 40 days and you're right here. And then it was like a aha moment. Can you share that with people?
yeah. I'll start from. I'll take it back a little bit, and we don't work our way to that because like the thing we was talking about as far as trying to figure out how to maneuver around it and so on. It got to a point where I'm watching videos on like semen retention and like this and that just for like motivation or just for something to see like what's going on here, to see what other people are going through and so on. And I'm seeing like a repetitive thing that I wasn't really cool with as far as like I'm not seeing any men, no older, matured men or whatever that's speaking on it. I'm seeing a lot of 20-something-year olds that are looking like you got to do it and ambition and, this and that. Your life's going to be so much better. You're going to be way more attractive and this and that. Da, da, da. I'm not seeing nobody like really speak on it for it's always on some ambitious goal, young guy feel. And it's like, man, I've been there. Like I've been there and done that as far as what you guys are talking about and how y'all are going about it and the reasons why and the outcomes and this and that. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for like the energy, the change, the you know, the things that you go through, this and that. Like I said, so I'm looking for like an older man's perspective and so on, like a seasoned man. And what I'm looking at, like I'm reading books like The Jade Dragon and Mantak Chia's The Male Cultivating Male Sexual Energy and things like that, you know. And once I'm looking at what they're saying, they're like, hey, semen retention and like completely stopping, you don't got to do that. Or like, if you feel the need to do that, then do that. But, you know, that's not required at all. And actually, like, it's about finding balance in between this and that because you could end up hurting yourself and this and that, so on and so forth. And it's like, uh, and this is where, you know, our call comes in to where I'm starting to learn more through the, the acceptance of the energy of, you know, masturbation, sex, and sexual energy in that nature, to where that's where it's like, you know what? This is like very unnecessarily painful. And now, like I said, I'm seeing these guys sell like something, and the ancient teachings, which I always like to refer to, or people that, you know, celebrate ancient teachings, it's like, nah, you ain't gotta do that. Like, it's always about balance and, you know, this and that and finding grace and, you know, acceptance and love and da 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 da. And it's like, yeah, fuck all this. This is stupid. Like, you know, this sounds like this, you know, new age, not even new age, but this sounds like the YouTube stuff just to get clicks to sound like this and that, because nobody that's real that I'm, you know, resonating with or sound like I'm learning stuff from or like could aspire to like get to, they're not saying this YouTube stuff. They're saying stuff that makes sense with everything else, you know, and with everything else I'm hearing. Like even with when I was speaking to you and Sandra and, you know, the you all earlier when I was asking about what
Yes,
were we
sexual
saying?
energy. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I recall. Hmm.
yeah. So
The
to
feminine and with our sexual energies. So yeah, so you were reading on these books. You were talking about gaining new perspectives and like how, you know, possibly it being a new age thing or a trend and whatnot, and what like older philosophies are saying and what you were feeling, and like your lessons are complete and you might as well finish now,
yeah, yeah.
but you didn't.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I pressed on and I kept going
Because
because
you what? You promised yourself, right?
I promised myself, and
And that
it
was
was
part of the battle. That's
yes.
part of the battle where it's like that entity of creation will be so consuming and so powerful and so beautiful. It's you. And essentially, you get to create your reality and what you choose to do with that energy. And you can choose to say, well, I'm a mass creator. I don't really got to do this. I can have all the excuses in the
Mhm.
world, from he said, she said, to X, Y, and Z, of all the pains, all the trials, all the tribulations of what I'm feeling. And I can give up now because I learned my lesson. I learned what it is. And then
Mhm.
I was like, but you told yourself, you promised yourself 40 days and 40 nights, or 40 days pretty much.
Yeah,
When
49.
is it
Yeah, yeah.
over? And you was like on Wednesday, and I was like, today's Tuesday. So tomorrow? And you were like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. And I said, Mm. Did you really learn all your lessons since you were about to break it? One day away from your commitment, your promise to yourself, your promise to yourself. And that's how these thought forms work, right? They're created by us, so they're just as powerful as us. And they have our voice and they have all the right words to persuade you, to seduce you, to manipulate you because it knows you, it came from you, it's birthed from you.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny
Did
how
it
that
ring
the
know
last
you? And
day,
you did it though. You did it. You was like, "Oh, you got me there."
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, because once again, I know I know me and I know me. So it's like it knows how to play me against me real good. But the fact
Because
that,
it is you.
oh yeah, and the fact that, like I said, once I notice so much and so observant that once I see that there's a thing against to go, to play off of, now I know how to play. So like you said, to help me notice that on the last day there was a seduction to stop, to where it's like, oh damn, because that whole last day had
And
me bugging.
it didn't even, yeah, you was talking about how you was bugging, but you didn't even feel like it was at its strongest or at its peak. In fact, the way that you told me was you felt like you had it under control already in that bay. Like you was like, I learned it, I got it, I feel it. This shit is crazy. This shit has gotten out of control. Like you was saying all of this, and then you're like, but I got it. Like I learned it, I got it, I succeeded. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how witful we are. That like we can outwit the ourselves. Like it's like outwitting the devil, right? Like we trick ourselves and we outwit ourselves in so many ways. And like it can go unnoticed sometimes. So
Yeah,
I want to share Mudra real quick. It's a real simple, easy one. If you ever decide to go on a journey again or something like that, obviously it doesn't have to be 40 days, 40 nights, but just for anyone watching as well. And it's called the Mushti Mudra. And you'll take your thumbs and place it at the base in between your pinky and your ring finger. You're going to close it like a fist. The more stressed out you are about it, you squeeze it, the less just hold it in. And you're going to hold this mudra for about 5 to 45 minutes. Put a timer if you need to put a timer. You're going to hold it. You could do it sitting down, standing up, putting it on your lap, whatever. But you squeeze it. This is going to connect to your Muladhara, which is your root chakra. This is going to connect to the Earth Star chakra, and this is going to connect to your body's safety, your groundingness. This is going to ground that energy. Remember that sexual creative energy was going up. You was talking about feeding that flame. So sometimes when that flame, like, you like, yo, I can't even do breath work because if I breathe, I'm about to like blast, like,
sure.
right? So like doing the mushti could also help with grounding, and then taking a breath into that energy and then putting in an attention into that energy to shapeshift that thought form into another form. So it's a form of alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, you're turning one thing into another. So it's still birthed from you, and it's still and birthed from your sexual creative energy, but it gets transformed into something else because you're able to ground yourself into your body with that mudra to be able to it's gonna connect to your anus. It's gonna connect to your pelvic bone and that area, and it's gonna bring like an anchoring of that energy where it's already s- practically squeezing you in the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like clawing at you, and like at the same time that it's clawing at you, it's so big, it's vibrating out of you.
Right.
So like harnessing that energy and say, I have a hold of you. See this, the
Mhm.
thumb is also connected to the sun, is also connected to fire. And so you are taming that fire. You're harnessing the fire and you are holding it in.
Mhm.
You're
Nah,
not shutting it off, but you're getting a grasp of it.
right. Nah, full makes full blown. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Duly noted. Duly noted. Because as much as I was talking all that hot stuff about, oh, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. This and that. Yeah, I'm good. Da, 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 da. It got to a point where now that it's all said and done, it's like the energy ain't even hitting the way, like I still haven't had sex or nothing like that for since I don't even what earlier this year or whatever, and I'm not even trying to like make nothing happen or nothing like that at this point. And now it's like it's almost like it reminds me of that exercise that you did uh with the holding the breath and
Oh, yes.
like tensing up. Yeah, and then like that release to where it's like
Mhm.
that's how I feel like this whole thing has been, just building up an energy just to now it's just out and now the muscles are relaxed. It's
Did you
like,
try that while you were?
yes. Yes.
Did it
I tried
help?
everything.
He said,
Everything
I
I
tried
could.
everything. Please, God.
Pray. Make it
So,
stop.
so did you
Teach
did so
me.
you got into prayer? Did you get into prayer? Did you
Oh yeah.
not like?
I
Yeah.
prayed. I went back to Christianity. I'm like, Jesus,
No,
give me
you did not.
strength.
I believe you though.
Oh
Did you
goodness.
did you
Yeah.
did you get
Hey,
connected to the Christ? Were you
hey,
were you
I, I,
anointed?
I connected back to every aspect of everything that I could work with. I tried doing ritual magic again. I went out to the moon. I was in the dirt. Oh Lord, I did everything. I went all the tricks that worked in my repertoire ever I attempted. um,
And
and I would say
none of it was
that
helping, or did some of it help? Like what helped more?
one thing did help, which was crazy. It helped one time, but the effectiveness was insane. It never helped again. But when it did help, it just shut everything off, which was like, why that do that? But yeah, it was me visualizing a family
Mm.
and like just being fully in daddy husband mode, completely detached from my current state, to where I have to help, my current like it was just my clan. I just seen straight up that, and everything just went the fuck away, like hard pressed, like in the middle of it, it just said, "Nope, gone." And I was like, "The fuck?" With
I had a feeling you were going to say something about either family or like children or something.
Mhm.
Um, one thing that does like neutralize that energy is the purity and innocence of children or child or that the youthful soul. Um, and if it doesn't work with that, then clearly you have some stuff, not you specifically, but a person could have some deeper um, entities, attachments, or things that they're fighting against that they may not even be in awareness. It could be generational, it can be past, it could even be environmental, right? An energetic that has passed through the environments or thought form or even conditionings and programs and whatnot. Um, but 9 out of 10 times, if you think about a child, going to neutralize that energy. And not in a way, it's sometimes it's like how you mentioned, it's completely gone. Sometimes it's also where it just actually neutralizes it and transforms it into a space of just pure bliss and love, like just like
Mhm.
that nurturing space now. And that's part of an alchemy too. Like it can turn into that, like, now, or it could be like, do I even want family? Do I want a child and stuff like that? Those other thoughts, but it will decrease that energy. So for you, you said it worked at one time. When you tried it again, what was going on in the other times?
The other times, it was like I can feel it fighting back, like, oh no, like it would, if where the first time, like I said, just complete shutdown and like complete like stop on, and that was on the heaviest day. That was on the like strongest day that I can remember, to where, hey, the day before, the night before, the day before, like it was like going on nonstop, like nonstop completely. To where, like I said, that was like when it knew that I'm fighting.
Hmm.
So yeah,
And that was
and,
every day, pretty much. It wasn't no longer every 3 days.
yeah,
It was every.
it was like instead of like giving me a break every 3 days, it was going on nonstop for like 3 days nonstop. But yeah, once that happened and it cut off, and then all right, let's take a note of that thought. Let's expand on that for next time. And then next
Mhm.
time happened, and it was like a, "Phew, yeah, we ain't gonna let this happen again." And then it's like, all right, I can maintain it, but as long as like I got the lid on and this and that. And then the next time it happened, it's like, oh, family, nah, nope, something else, because I'm here now. And it's like, word, but we're 2 more weeks away and I'm almost done, so whatever. And so yeah, something else. Da 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 da. But yeah, that was that's still, like I said, that's a interesting little situation that happened, that like that done stained my mind completely now, where it's like, okay, keep that.
Can you see the spiritual benefit of it now that you actually went through the experience versus what you had read about it being like a new age thing or something like can you actually see why it might actually be important for a guy to even try this at least once in his life?
All right, let's recant the new age statement, because that was only for the tactics that the YouTubers was using for catching people in their algorithm. So that's the only new age part of that. But why I definitely recommend it, or at least this will be me projecting to recommend it, because I don't know people's situations, but I just know what that did for me was to bring out my demons in full form, for me to see, and for them to not only be seen, but present themselves to be like, them rolling up their sleeves, putting their boxing gloves on, and being like, yeah, we haven't really, we never really squared up for real like that. We always indirectly, but I think we gonna have to piece this one up real quick. So that definitely gave me a a, face to face with my deeper, darker parts of me, one on one, for real. And it was it was good to get punched in the mouth a couple times and like say, still see that I'm still good. So yeah, for any man that's looking for uh, a temperature check on his soul and on his self, to see himself for real, that is a good way to go in the realm of Jesus's sake, as far as saying 40 days and 40 nights, to go into the desert and, to have, your Satan tempt you with, the world and all the other temptations and so on and so forth, and see how you can really stand on your 10 toes and be like, no, no, and see what that really means to be able to stop your temptations or not to fall for it. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for clarifying that, because there's so much misconceptions on it. And like you mentioned, there are dangers, and depending on a person's like body, whether they're dealing with like prostate issues and stuff like that. And it can cause, if it's extended for too long, but like that's 40 days is not going to do that. But yes, the shadow work, and you like you said,
Definitely.
punched in the mouth. Is it was it because sometimes our ego allows us, like even subconsciously, we're defending ourselves at times without, like, we're defending our demons, or we're defending our excuses, or we're defending all these other densities of pleasure and stuff. And it's not to say I'm not allowed pleasure or anything like that. It's to say, I choose this. I'm not consumed by this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's what I hear when you were talking about, like, getting punched in the face or in the mouth, is like sometimes your words biting you back in the ass, like, of things that you may have said in the past or something like that. But that's my assumption and my interpretation of what you're saying. I would rather hear from you, right? Like the horse's mouth, of like, in that, like, do you feel like, because when you mentioned like family, and they challenged that the next time around, because they knew like their intelligence is like your intelligence and the great grand intelligence, essentially. um so did you see like some of your own words and your powers come back and like bite you in the ass during that shadow work? Like, do you feel like it was just one entity, multiple entities? Because you went from saying one, but then it sounded like it shifted to 30. And I just gonna read a comment real quick. I know some of y'all are commenting. I'm sorry. Yes, there's been definite it there is definitely tough, but can be beneficial. I think the retention can be beneficial. We all experience things differently though, so that's why they say that it's new age. And then also Gina says 30 days can break a habit if we expose it. Yes. Welcome Wisdom 365. Going into the was it one entity, was it one being, did it turn into many? It sounds like that's what you were saying. I just want to clarify for those that's watching this, watching part two, because there was a lot of people on YouTube who actually requested for this part two, and some of them had never went through this journey. And so I want to again make sure that I'm understanding, their understanding, we're all understanding what it is that you were saying with that, and that we're on board, that it goes from one to many different beings. Or would you say it's all still just one being based on
Uh,
your experience?
Simple answer and complicated answer is yes, both. Because ooh, because all right. I think we have the time. Me. I gotta go deep, but I think I talked about this before. Definitely talked to you about it. Time,
Mhm.
where I'm seeing time as light, and the opposite of time is gravity. And I'm starting to see gravity as like flesh, because I heard something that I believe my grandma mentioned was about, like, that flesh is the origin of sin or whatever. How the Bible people talk, and not say that I'm not, but where it's like the flesh and is the sin of man. Da, 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 da. We're born of flesh, so we're born of sin, and so on and so on and so on. Where looking into like
I'm
teachings.
gonna need you. I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to tell us. I don't know, and I don't know the so ons. I'm gonna need you to
Okay,
act like I
all
don't know
right,
shit. I
all
don't
right.
know nothing.
Okay. So, as far as me coming up in Christianity, and it seems like the three major religions would also agree with, is that once you're born in flesh and born in the world, you are therefore sinful. And coming up into it, I always thought that was kind of like a self-hating kind of statement where it's like, oh, we're all evil, so therefore we're unredeemable until you know the Father and da 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 da. Until you know the Father and learn the way of God in the same way Jesus Christ say, learn the Father through me and so on, and learn the Father through me, and it's like okay, follow Jesus because I'm an evil, no good sinner and this and that. Da, da, da,
Go
da. I'm trying. I'm trying to skip that part. But
ahead.
anyways, yeah.
Down. It's okay. I ain't even mad at you. Go ahead. Just keep flow how you need to flow. Don't
Okay.
stop. It's all good.
Appreciate you. But now I'm starting to see patterns in my communication. Yeah, so I was coming up thinking that it was like, oh, follow this guy because you can't follow yourself because you're evil. And now to learn about time to where it's basically light and gravity traps it down, and that's why black holes like go into this timelessness and what have you. And the closer you are to the earth, I believe the slower time goes, and like the higher you are like in planes and whatnot, time changes and so on. Or like that's because the light's just being trapped. And so if if time is light being trapped, then you being of flesh, because there's a lady called Helena P. Blavatsky, H.P. Blavatsky, and she has some teachings from like she was taught by the Tibetans or whatnot way back in the 1800s, early 1900s. Either way, she's known for the book The Secret Doctrine, but she also was known for like the teaching of the seven root races, to where humanity came from. I believe the Polarians and so on and so on and so on, the Lemurians, Atlanteans, Hyperboreans, and then us. But like the higher back you go to like the current state of humanity, to the Atlanteans, to the Lemurians, to the Hyperboreans, like going back to the Polarians were like gigantic beings that could their footstep was the continent, and they were like light beings basically, and they didn't need to reproduce, they just were. But the next age, they condensed down and got smaller and got smaller and got smaller and got more condensed, and it went from being these light beings to these uh transformative beings to these beings that were asexual but could reproduce, asexually, to these, non-binary beings, to these gendered beings that need to reproduce, together, to us, to where, I guess that was it. But either way, it's these light beings that's condensed down to these flesh beings, and it's like the light that was free, it was flowing, but now it's trapped and condensed to where our flesh is like the gravity that's holding us down in time. It's trapped in the time. So now we have to, the further we are condensed, the more, um, the less our consciousness, that light inside of us, which is also the light that is could be considered time or whatever, is distorted through that. If you ever see those little time fields they do on like the science charts, where it's like a grid, and then you put the ball, and like the gravity field is like, yeah, that field is now altered just because of our existence. So that's the quote unquote sin that be could be, be perceived as that, just
Mhm.
because our denseness, the nature of our existence in this uh, era, in this Kali Yuga that we're in, instantly puts us in a distortion and puts us in a sin, so to speak. And so, and so, uh, being born in this sin, we inadvertently create our demons, so to speak, because our light has to maneuver just to get to us through the distortion of the gravities or whatnot. And so, with that being said, you instantly have demons just because of uh, the angles that's created that the light has to go through. And that also goes into Hermes Trismegistus, where I think I've also explained this before, where Hermes Trismegistus learned to leave his body and leave reality by like meditating and sleeping an hour a day, pointing his head north and then pointing his head south. And then he was able to astral project, I believe, to like the edge of existence, but got chased back by these guardians of the outer existence that were like these dog-like creatures or like lion-like creatures that, anytime you see the lions holding the world and the food dogs or the I forgot what the lions are called in the Egyptian, where they're like looking at way on both ends. I think it starts with an A or something like that. Lions of Amenta, something like that. But either way, it it's these guardians like that. And he said that the only way he could escape them is like leaving the angles. Like he had to move circularly and not moving angles and whatnot. And so in the same way that, angels and angles and like the angels and guardians and so to speak, and like there's a consistent pattern in that language and in that in those visuals to uh to where it just seems like these angles, these things are the real enemy just because, like I said, we're born in the flesh now. So now I'm seeing those Bible teachings in a different light, so to speak. And now I'm different frequency vibration, you can even take it there. But yeah, now being able to do these retentions or whatnot, or put yourself in a position to where the flesh, the the gravity field is changing and shifting just because you're shifting your light in a different wavelength, in a different pattern, in different perspective. Now the gravity, the flesh is tested, and now the demons come out, the darkness, or so to speak, comes out. And to go back to what you were saying fully, whether it was one or many, Christ. Um, my views come from the fact that I see everything coming from a dark mother. That's the origin source of all things. Even in Gnostic Christianity, so to speak, God didn't get his breath that he gave to Adam. Like that wasn't just his breath he gave to Adam to breathe life into man or whatnot. He got his breath from his mother and like manipulated it to become the demiurge and like this false ruler and this and that, where we think a man is ruling this and that, or like a masculine and it's actually a feminine, but that feminine is on that Tiamat, everything kind of level where there's no morality within her and it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It is, and that darkness holds the truth of all things, the beauty, the ugly, the up, the down, the left, the right, the madness, the sanity, the purity, the sulliedness, the everything. And so I believe that once we get to the darkness, the shadow work, so to speak, you are opening the door for both pain and pleasure, for truth and lies. So these demons and certain teachings I got from Bobby Hemmett where he'll say that the truth is in when the word is being able to like read forward and backwards. So demon could be considered the nomad, which could be considered like the teacher,
Mhm.
and that's what I got from my shadow work and my now that I'm on this level of learning things. Yeah, that shadow work ain't gonna play because it's like, yeah, I'll be one thing, and then I'll split into everything, and then I'll be nothing, but then I'll be you, and then I'll be this again, and then I'll be what you thought I was, and then I'll be what you know I am, and then I'll be back to that one thing against you again. So yeah, it took all the forms it needed to get me to the next phase.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Damn. See? I love it. I'm so grateful that you broke that down. That was so juicy and so necessary to hear it in the intricate way that you were able to break that down because I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that's going to be watching this is going to be doing some research now, probably going down some rabbit holes or not. Maybe
Yeah.
not, maybe so. And I love how you brought it back to, from the religious aspect to the spiritual aspect to the masculine, the feminine, the darkness of what we say demons and how you perceive it now and just what energy is versus like good and bad and like all of that is just so beautiful because it's like we can read that in a book all fucking day,
Mm.
but to actually experience it and live it and go through it and like you started off earlier like yeah you went through it here and there occasionally like hi or whatever with your darkness and then like
Yeah.
yeah I'm finna dip out of here now I'm gonna go over here check this one out and like going through the semen retention and that creative force being creation itself,
Mm.
essentially, and your creation and your world and your swirls and your waters and your ethers and everything showing you all of that is something that no book or teachings can really teach you. You kind of have to just go through that, but it's beautiful to know that there is a support system. I always recommend a support system, having somewhat to talk to, even like you didn't hit me up every day all the time and everything like that. Like you allowed yourself to go through this journey. You was like, I'm
Mm.
going through this fucking journey. But like you were honest when like either I would check up or you would, hey soul, like,
Yeah.
and we would talk and like it's important to have that support system and hear different stories. I feel because you can learn a lot from that. You mentioned sleep earlier.
Mm.
Were you intentionally trying to have an outer body experience and project yourself into another space when you were sleeping? Or was it just, I just need to fucking sleep to try to get this shit to stop, whatever? Because you mentioned with the sleep with Hermes as well, or
Mm.
Toph, and that, sleeping with your head to the north and everything like that, but you also mentioned sleeping, so just asking that question, was there a connection that you actually tried, or is it just something that revealed itself while you was in this journey?
Nah, I just tried to keep it as like down to earth, literally as possible because I'm at a point where I respect all. I'm in a full sense of like I think I know either not enough or too much, but I definitely know to not play. And so it's like if I'm already doing this right here, I don't need to be going up there and out there and and figuring out what's out there to get shooken up and shaken by. So yeah, nah, I was
Are
just going to sleep and
would that be because I'm sorry, I did cut you off. Yeah, so you were
all
just
good.
sleeping.
Nah, because I was just saying the fact that yeah, yeah, because I don't know about y'all, but once again, prepare for a long-winded answer, not as long-winded as the last one. But as a kid, I dreamt normal, like I dreamt of flying and all this and that, and then like by the time I turned like 11 to 23, it's like my dreams got very mundane. Like all my dreams were, oh, I would go to like the dream version of like my old schools, my family's houses, just places I've already been, and just go there and that's it. Or go to movie theaters and like right around town. It'll be like very mundane versions of just, well, just dream versions of what I know around me. And then the last couple years have been like, all right, you back to dreaming crazy, fantastical dreams again. But let's dial this all the way up to now, like I said, I don't know about y'all, but as of late, my dreams be tiring. I be tired coming from my dreams because I'm like going through dream sequence, dream sequence, dream sequence, dream sequence, dream sequence. Like I'm in this place now, I'm in that place
You're
now, doing this,
traveling.
doing yeah, and it is like high octane. It's no longer mundane no more. It's on some like my last dream, I felt like I was in like a video game or something where I was in the desert, then I was in these ruins that end up going to this town, and that was just in that section of the dream. Like it was,
Mhm.
I was, and there was like monsters that I was like fighting with and then chased by at the end of the day, and then I had to like deal like hide around these giant god beings, and once again, just that was that one aspect of the dream. It turned into something else, but yeah, I got like that going on, so it's like I like the journey of it, but at the same time, it's like it's tiring. So I'm just seeing where it goes and what it do, but as far as like actively from this like waking standpoint, trying to like peek the under the veil of like trying to see what's going on actually in the dreams, um I have a respect and a fear that's just a respect to not open that door as of yet. I would love to get into my astral travel books and like really like get into astral travel like that because my cousin, who's not into anything, he's been on that. Like I know he astral travels, which is crazy. He does it just off rip. He could just do it, and it's like I respect you for it, but I'm the observer. I'm the learner. I'll just observe and learn and see what happens. But yeah, as far as for this experience, the sleep was solely to rest and escape from the pain. So yeah.
I love your honesty. It's funny that you say escapism. You're a Pisces. Pisces has like escapism or like self-sabotaging sometimes, but it's beautiful because you're also like super healing, super magical, super powerful in so many ways, right? And I just love how like you allow yourself to stay grounded. Like they mentioned, it could be dangerous, exploring out. Like they said, the outer spaces are dangerous for real, for real. They can be. And I think it's important to remember to stay in faith over fear
Mhm.
and know that nothing can harm you without your permission, and just staying in your power is a form of groundingness. In that wherever you travel to, it doesn't fucking matter what wants to pretend wants to exist there. Like staying in your power is the ultimate groundingness that you can do, if you do travel out into any other realm. Just kind of putting it out there, it doesn't matter what biblical text it is that you or may have read or was indoctrinated to and everything like that. And it's not even just um saying it because you read it somewhere, but it's embodying it, right? Embodying that faith and that trust in yourself and in source, the creator of your soul. Like, whether you believe that the creator of your soul is masculine or feminine or spirit itself, just believing wholeheartedly in the creation of your soul, the creator of your soul, and the wholeness and oneness of your divinity with that being, and in that space, nothing can harm you, and all is a footstool, all is a reflection or a mimic to that creation and that being, and therefore it must honor and oblige by that cosmic law, regardless of what dimension they come from or in. It's something you wouldn't have been able to have access to go there if that wasn't embedded in your creational spiritual DNA, not just your physical DNA but your spiritual DNA. um and it can get fucking scary. Yes, it can at times, And so I'm putting it out there because it's like, it's not to fear monger. It's also to empower and say, for those that are ready to explore that place, if they do it and they have the awareness that it can be dangerous, then at least you know what you prepare yourself. And if you don't know, you know you're not going to know until you get there. And sometimes our fears, right, the same way you were almost like, I got this thing in the bag, I might as well end on day 39, because why the fuck I need to do one more day for I got everything I need, right? That sensuality of creation, of empowerment and pride and seduction, and the ways that it can, and I'm guilty of it too. I've done broken certain promises to myself and stuff like that, and I had to say, well, wait a minute, like, we always have a right to change our mind. We always have a right to stop doing something or change the contract, change the frequency, change the vibration any given time that we want. That is true. But can I allow myself to also keep my word as bond? And bond doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like, if you mentioned earlier, it's just energy. It's not about good or bad. Can I commit to myself? If I want people outside of me, all my reflections, to commit to me, clearly my quote unquote demons are so committed to me, to the point where they're willing to see if I'm going to pay it successfully or pay it in failure. But either way, they're committed so much to me that they're standing in their purpose, because they were created by you to work in that purpose. So, and they're committed to serving you. They are so committed to you that they're willing to serve you, even if you decide to say, I make you my footstool, or I'm going to put you on fucking timeout. Now they're like, damn, I did my job so good. He done turned deeper into his higher self or God's self, or whatever the case may be. Or I just did me so fucking good that he just turned, we are integrated into one. We are morphing into one even more. And that's okay. They're both versions of you. There's no separation of you. It's just what you choose with that. You know what I'm saying? But if you put a thought form there of, I'm dedicating myself to this goal, to this time, and you don't commit to that, are you, do you, do you allow yourself to break your promises to yourself? That's something to reflect on. And you and I already had the conversation, but it's more for those that's going to be watching the replay, or like even watching now, to like ask those questions, right? Am I honoring my word? Am I honest with myself, right? We're talking about grace, right? And we're talking about kingdoms, right? The kingdom within, and being in the space of honoring our the God within us, the goddess within us, the most high. Well, are you honoring your honor? Yes, your honor, right? Are you honest with yourself? Honest and truthful are two different things. So are you truthful with your word? Also, is your word bond, right? Are you able to have a healthy, meaningful connection with that which you create? And therefore, are you able to magnetically attract healthy, meaningful connections to you, right? Or are you attracting the opposite? And it's not to say that you're, even if you're having a healthy, meaningful connection with yourself, that you're not going to attract the opposite. That's clearly what the shadow work is, to show you where you are with yourself. You know, so I love how you broke all of that down, because that's how my brain just like digested everything. Is like, I'm just so proud of you for not giving up, seeing yourself all the way through, saying, yo, I don't give a fuck, I'm about to go to sleep right now. I don't got, like, that is a way of dealing with this. Sleep is very spiritual, is very healing for the body as well, you
Yes.
know. You don't lose yourself. That's probably why you was tired. You have all this energy. You was done traveling, even though, as much as you said, I'm not trying to travel in those places. That's your ego. You were still
Mhm.
traveling regardless of that quote unquote fear. Just how far did you travel? That's between your, that was your soul with your other versions of you that was traveling to those places, because the version, the spirit that is talking here in this space probably doesn't remember traveling as far as the rest of the other entities that's laughing in the around you, like, ha, that's why you tired, because we was out parlaying, you know.
Oh Lord.
How
Oh
deep do
Lord.
you go? How big, how grand are we? You know, do
Mhm.
we always say, oh, know thyself is to know all things, and do we really know ourselves fully? We always get to places of like, how do we know that? I know what I know, but how? Because we do know all things, because there's other versions of us that already went through what we went through, because it's past time, it's past gravity.
Right.
You know, then we scared of ourselves. I'll be scared of Kuka.
Oh,
Ah, any did you during that process, were you eating any types of foods, or you was eating whatever you wanted to eat? Like, did your food palette change? I know you spoke about like mental and your emotional body and spiritual. Like, did your food palette also change, or did you see any changes in your skin or anything like that, or did
I don't think so. As far as you said, skin changes or anything like that, the food was about the same things that I usually eat. I am not in the space to eat the way I want to. As far as like, because let me do me. I'm gonna just be drinking water and figuring out the natural foods that's around and just running off of that off rip, and then probably eating, some family, meals and stuff like that every now and again, balance. But nah, I've been eating, the usual things I've usually been eating, and I know for a fact because I kind of hopped into the whole fast, so to speak, off rip because if I had more planning the way like I really wanted to do it because I just seen that like when I started it would be 40 days to where the month will end exactly. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm into it now. But if I did more planning, it would be I would do like a food fast first. Like I would like go I would wean myself down to where, off of the junk and off of just the regular foods to where, I'm eating lighter foods. All right, now I'm just eating fruit and then I'll probably eat just one fruit and now it's just straight up water. Now I could do like a 3 day fast and now, okay, my body's ready because now I got my cells and all this, molecular is
And you
prepped.
don't think that's
Now,
gonna bring more of them out?
Uh, yeah, but then it'll bring them out over there, and it's like, oh yeah, I could handle, them. And once I'm done handling them, I could get handling down to the ones down here, and back up. That's the real, fighters that because once again, like I started before, it's like labor. It's just like doing more, body, body pains, laboring work. That's cool, to be hungry, to be, you know,
That's why I was
stressed out.
asking
And
that, 'cause if you were like more hungry or not. Yeah, because
you know what though? I would say this. I would cook more. I would eat more, just to like, because like I said before too, where I'll do stuff to where like clean and try to move around or do things to take up my time. I would do things like that to where once I'm cooking or something like that or eating. Now instead of just being idle and being like antsy or whatnot, now it's like okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to spend an hour of time making some food real quick. So, let me go ahead and do that. Da, 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 da. Now, oh, now I'm cooking. Now I'm eating. Now I gotta wash the dishes. Now, day's almost over with. Well, I guess I don't gotta worry about feeling no urges anymore. And, that's so that kind of went that way too. Now that you got me, that in my head
yeah,
now.
I was more asking like if it was like eating more for like either distraction or eating more like emotionally eating because of like the energy, or if it was just you your food consumption stood the same.
But it was definitely for like yeah, I think it was more. I would say I was eating more, but it was for the space of distraction and just to stay busy. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was definitely a part of it.
I love how your soul had you go on this journey and it ended it like right in the beginning of the month for you, how it timed it like even on point with like a moon cycle and everything like that. Like it was very genius. You're very genius. You really are. I really love how you also honored that and you trusted in yourself to go through that journey. Sometimes we get these nudges, these push from our souls to go and do things, and then we let the excuses get in the way, or we're afraid. And you just said, you know what? I don't know what this is gonna look like.
Hmm.
I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna think. You did it.
Thanks. Thank you. But yeah, and this goes for everybody out there. Use me as a reference point. But uh, I know I can attempt to be as logical as I can and come up with all these ideas and all these things that make so much sense that, ooh, why didn't I, I talk to people and like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should do that. And then I'm like full steam ahead and everything just shoots to shit and goes absolutely wrong in the most where the hell did that come from kind of way possible to where I look damn near like the most unluckiest person in the world because just the most random of circumstances happen. And then I do the exact opposite where I let go and things happen once again out of nowhere, but then things also happen out of nowhere or things happen where I don't do something. And it's like, well, see there, that didn't work because you didn't, do the common sense thing to do. And it's like, so it gets to the point of balance to where I'll initiate the act, I'll put the foot on the gas and take me where you need to take me then because let's see where this goes. And then once, now it's learning, I'll grip the handlebars, I'll grip the steering wheel when the road gets rocky and this and that. But at the same time, if the road gets rocky to where I can't do anything about it, I'm not going to try to steer out of fear. It's just well, I can't do nothing now. And, like you said before, where it's like, hey, your soul gonna lead you to where, it needs to take where it needs to take you, and it's not here to hurt you or nothing like that. It's here to serve you. So it's like I believe in that. I know that. So, let's put that knowing to the test, where it's like, hey, all right, it seems like I'm gonna die, but fuck it. Oh, I didn't. I didn't again. I didn't die again, and I'm here to live another day with another lesson to be learned. That's the same lesson I've been learning my whole fucking life, but now I get to see the lesson more and more each time I go through the challenge of it. Yay. That's all right. I see what's going on now. All right, let's keep it pushing. So, yeah, my
Gratitude
favorite.
for being alive.
That's right. And going through seeing what I'm made of. But yeah,
Mhm.
so there's definitely a balance of being in control and giving control to the universe, to God, to whatever higher being, higher self that you see fit. But yeah, yep, my that's my view on it. That got me into all kinds of shit that I had no idea. Hey, my whole spiritual journey for real, was from me wanting to make a cartoon and wanting to study I wanted to see what kind of background architecture I want my cartoon to be, and it took me into neoclassicalism, the White House, and everything in Washington D.C. And then I started learning about Egypt through there, and masonry, and da 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 da, and the door just opened from there. So if I can learn through just cartoons and the basis of my thing, just do your thing, and that shit should take you to where you want to go as far as any deeper understandings or deeper learnings of self. So yeah.
I have so much gratitude for you. I'm so thankful for everybody who's been tapping in here, listening. Make sure you follow him if you don't already. Support his art, support his mission, his message. Thank you for your time for part two, right? Because you could have been another one and was like, oh, I don't need to do part two for these people. I don't know none of them. And um, you shared so many nuggets on here. I mean, so much jewels. We're all rich in just you are so rich with wisdom, with knowledge, with abundance, prosperity in the material, the physical, the spiritual, and all the realms and all dimensions that you shared so much jewels here, and we're all the more richer for it. And we all I know for me, I'll speak for me, I'm gonna allow myself to multiply that richness into all of our realms and dimensions as I will it, right? So it can manifest tangibly in all our lives so that we can all thrive in our greatest good, and have all our needs provided for, and need never worry again about being able to afford anything. Yeah. Um, so just putting that out there for you all to just follow your soul, listen to yourself, stand in your position, take action, take flight, do what it is necessary for you to do what you need to do here, and the richness will continue to thrive, continue to flourish in your life. I don't really have anything else to say and add. I think that I am complete with this transmission from you. It was so beautiful. I'm pretty sure there was a lot. I'm gonna go back, check names, do some research too. So grateful, so thankful. Do you have anything else you would like to share with everyone before we let everyone go?
uh, First off, I appreciate y'all appreciation. I appreciate y'all time. Thank you so for giving a platform for me to run my mouth a little bit. And yeah, I would. hey, if y'all value what I got to say, we should, try to plot another thing to, do or whatnot. I know you got your 40 days and 40 nights thing you got going on with your squad yourself. Shout out to you for, going through that and building, a community with that. That's awesome. Um, yeah, if you
Are
want
you
to chop it up on like
gonna
another
do a
thing,
guys retreat?
now that you said it, I think that's got to be like, I think that should be a thing. I gotta figure that out.
Mhm.
I think that should be definitely a thing. One of all the things that are already in my head, that's definitely gotta happen. Damn.
Mhm.
But yeah. All
Mhm.
right. Good.
Yeah, they
Damn
they
it.
they snitching
That,
on you. They put in the words out of your journal. They pulling it out.
uh,
The brotherhood.
hey.
It's time for the brothers to connect. I'm gonna shut the fuck up now because I did cut you off and you
No,
were talking your
it's all
final
good
words.
because that was a good idea. But yeah, yeah, like I said, I think we should chop it up to do something else like this. Just this seems healthy. This seems good. This
Mhm.
seems giving back to all of you guys. What going through. It seems like it's helpful. So I would like to continue that. And I'll keep an eye out for me in the next couple of months. I believe that's when, as far as artwork is concerned, I'm gonna be, you know,
Finishing the
back.
pieces you were talking about.
Yeah, couple of them done. I think I got like two or three more that I'm just gonna, you know, call it a wrap and then start pushing out to the public again. But yeah, once that happens, it's gonna be a fun little ride, and yeah, yeah, there's some things in store, and yeah,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be excited for y'all to see what's really going on for real, for real. But
Mhm.
once again, thank you so for the let me be social on social media because I'll usually be hiding in the crevices of just seeing posts and whatnot, but yeah, shout out to y'all for, enjoying and learning from whatever I be saying and whatnot. And yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate you all. And yeah,
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
peace. Good night.